Some would call this the secret place of God. Others may call it a spiritual awakening or the dark night of the soul. Whatever resonates with you is exactly where God wants you to be. No matter how society or others try to explain away your relationship with God and how God chooses to show up in your life. It's wrong whenever you choose not to follow their beliefs. But when are you going to choose yourself? Trust yourself that God is speaking directly to you. I brought my daughter to a doctor's visit. A doctor visit for two things only. When I went to this doctor visit, I noticed that the doctor tried to push his views onto me. I'm not going to get into too much detail of the views, but it's mostly about, he was telling me how children want to be basketball players and football players, and how they need to be something that society can use. And I was like, wow. Just realizing the program that society put on you. And specifically from this man, he's saying to a child that deny yourself and ignore yourself over what you want. Now, some people may say he's trying to save that child. But I feel like from experience, you learn from experience. You can't save anyone. The person have to save their self. And I feel like if a person wants to be a basketball player, which you can't go to college to be a basketball player, correct? But if a child wants to be a basketball player, then I will say to that child, if you want to be it and that's what you truly want to be, then you have to work hard and be the best. So it's up to that child how much he or she puts into it and how hard they want it. Now, whether they make it or whether they fumble is all up to them. Their choices, their decisions, how they feel about it. Now, let's say that they fumble it. Now, they have to navigate what they want to do from this point. Meaning, they're learning themselves, not being programmed by someone telling them this is what you should do because this is what society needs. You need to be a doctor. You need to be a lawyer. And I feel like that's where resentment comes from within children, because you are telling them to deny their self. So this is one thing I had to experience at the doctor's office that the doctor was putting on to my daughter. Now myself, he was trying to convert me into his way of thinking. And he got detailed into what do I do for work, and I just feel like I come to a doctor visit to be seen for a specific reason. I do not come for you to debate on my religion, my beliefs, my understanding of the world. How do I operate and function? I feel like he wanted control and power over others. When I don't need a doctor to tell me how to live my life, how to make my choices. And I specifically told him, sir, I'm 43 and I've made it this far by trusting God. It's really very, I'm trying to find a word, whenever people say, yeah, you have to take advice from others. You have to take advice, guidance, mentorship from others. And that's the word I was looking for. That's very tricky. It's very tricky because some people have not so good motives behind their guidance and their mentorship. For example, I feel like his was just about control. It was just about controlling others. And that's what most people, I feel like, only because of society and how life was formed and created, that most people look for power. I wrote something in my journal about it covers like conditional love. So in my journal, I said, being the overgiver, the people pleaser, the one who manages everything, including everyone's feelings and emotional state. Who told you to carry so much? I say in my journal. Is it society or is it your family upbringing? Family tells you you have to participate in society standards and rules. So it begins with family. In order to be considered as value or enough, you have to go to college and become or take on a role that doesn't align with what you want, but what society needs and deems as value. For example, let's take the football star from high school and strip him of his talent. Now, would he be of any value now? Would he still be loved and seen for who he is? Or was the love only about attention, value, and the attraction? And what he can give? Why wouldn't you call that conditional love? I only love you under certain conditions. If you perform in this way on this level, then you can obtain my attention, my love, and my acceptance. Is this why people work so hard? For love that is conditional? And as I sit with myself in this void of trying to integrate all of this, it may not make sense to you who is watching, and it doesn't make sense to me either, but it can get dark sometimes in this space. Waking up to what is real and removing all the illusions. I have to step back sometimes and watch a movie or watch something that's funny just to relieve me of the awakening of the truth and how people live in illusions, performance, conditional love. It's so scary sometimes. And I like to be by myself because it's like no one sees what I see. No one understands how I understand. Everyone is just performing. To fit in. Or to deem themselves as valuable by society.